Join call. Okay.
Hello?
Getting
Hello?
Mike to this group is harder than I imagined.
Do you know how to use Discord or?
Apparently no, apparently don't.
Okay, I think he's here now, no? Okay. Mike?
Hello?
Hello? Okay.
Oh my god.
Turn this thing up.
Are you speaking from a gulag, Mike? What is this mic quality? What the fuck? Hello, man.
Should be a nice microphone. Not good? Bad?
Your mic sounds fine.
Okay. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Okay. Good, good. It's fun. Guys, let me know if the volume is good, okay? I think maybe it's too loud now.
I feel like you guys are powering through this probably.
Yeah, you could say that.
Have all four of you been in the community testers already?
3 of us. One is not. Aristo's not
Okay.
on the CT.
Yeah.
So lots of experience there already. So there's not a lot of new stuff for you guys right now, eh?
I personally haven't. I tested a lot, but just with my single player characters, just because I had to test stuff fast, right? So it's actually my first time playing through the campaign with a party and everything. Like honestly,
Oh, that's interesting.
it's the first time I've seen the new areas and everything.
Yeah, because there's some new stuff in the campaign. There's more coming there too.
You already know the fan favorite, no? The new Rustlands seems like a big fan favorite. The swamp area with the toxic sewer looking thing.
Oh yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a fan favorite.
I was watching someone else earlier in the day, and they were going through that, and they were exclaiming about it being good too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Is there? I was gonna ask if there is something that you were excited to share but couldn't because it was under the NDA still, and now you're happy to be able to talk about it.
all of it.
Meteor belt.
I mean, hello.
We had a
Yeah.
meteor belt. Oh my god.
We've been holding for a year info and like projects and everything. It's been full torture, honestly. So absolutely.
Yeah, you can stream this. There's 2 other people that are streaming this as well, I think.
Thanks, Mike. It's a risk.
I didn't ask. I just took it for granted.
I
Sorry.
know, Lizard. You don't. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, Mike asked in chat, so he wanted to join us.
Yeah, just come say hi. I was I mean today is kind of it's a big day for us. So I've spent most of the day just watching people's streams and kind of working on the side a little bit, but
Now, how have you felt about it so far watching people?
it's great. It's funny no matter how much you test and check and like have people running through stuff over and over again, as soon as you open up to the public, there's like even if it's a small group, there's like a new bug that shows up. And it happened almost immediately.
Yeah.
With
yeah.
people not being able to get into council chambers, and I was just like, we're like an hour in, and I'm like, of course, there's something. And I'm a few people now actually. I went and I made a character went and stood in council chambers and just like added them to party and had them teleport to me.
Oh wow, that's how you had to fix it.
Oh, man. To a spot.
Well, it's actually not broken if you like talk to all the quest NPCs.
Oh, it's when you skip
Oh,
some of the NPCs?
Yeah, if you just run past them without talking to them.
Yeah, we always skip NPCs, so because we got used to it on single player. So
Like we've got a fix for it now too. That it doesn't matter if you run past them. But it's just funny. There's like even those like little tiny things. So that was a fun morning. But yeah, it's good. Having tons of fun with it.
fuck. How is it? How are you feeling? What? Run us through your emotions.
Excitement,
Okay.
happiness, a little bit of anxiety and stress, But
I mean, it's a beta. I mean, we had some lags, right? Especially when we pulled a bit too much. I think overall, especially considering that 2 of us are from Europe and the other 2 are from NA, that seems to be a big factor. Whoever is hosting seems to have as it's obvious, right? But a way smoother, experience, pretty much.
yeah, playing on home servers is way better for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'm banning
And
every
that's also-
NA player. NA players are banned from now on.
Exactly. European players banned. Yeah.
EU clan.
Yeah.
EU clan, EU only.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling, Mike, about the speed, what people are doing, and a lot of people have been mentioning that it seems like the HP probably needs to be looked at and all that, but at the same time it's kind of scary, right? Because new players, like, I mean, you don't want to have people just like stuck that, you know, they're running shit builds and they're just stuck at Lagon and they don't know what to do and they're 4 friends and they're just frustrated, right?
Yeah, it is really hard to provide skill opportunities for skilled players to use those skills, while still making it like interesting for those players and simultaneously not impossible for like first-time playthroughs and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I've seen. I'm sure you're the same, right? But on my free time, if I see a new player playing the game, I always watch them. And you know, Last Epoch is really approachable, but that doesn't mean your build is gonna be good the first time, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You definitely get less punished than other RPGs, but still, like, you see the classic build with 5 damage kills and so on, right? And
all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
it's I don't know. I was just wondering what you guys think about it. Like, if you have first thoughts just from watching, but
what to do? I really don't know what to do about it. I think there's my gut instinct is there's room for like optional challenges in the campaign that either give you more rewards or speed things up.
I see.
That's sort of the gut response, where like, and I guess that kind of looks at dungeons in a different way a little bit.
Yeah,
they're not great for first playthroughs right now.
Yeah, so you're not gonna do them on a first. You can't even do them right on a first playthrough. So
yeah, but maybe you should. Maybe you should be able to.
Okay.
Interesting.
Oh my god.
So
I don't know.
Tier 1 doesn't take key kind of deal, or?
I don't know. Maybe it's like.
I see. Great minds think alike, Mike. It is what it is. It is what it is.
I'm not saying that that's gonna happen or anything like that, but like you kind of get those feelings sometimes, and it's like things you want to look at and explore. just as like, I think that having that optional challenge, and I don't know if it's like a reward you want to give, like as far as like experience faster or like skipping chunks of content or what, but having that experience of playing through the campaign still be interesting for someone who is higher skilled is important too.
And I think it's also how do you prevent noobs entering it and thinking they should be there and getting wrecked, right? Like, yeah,
it's like how do you lock it without actually locking it?
Yeah,
because as soon as there's a guide online that's like fastest way to level, go here, go to this waypoint, go to this waypoint.
No.
And someone who can't handle it does it. They're hooped.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Well, we need to kill these things.
We missed one.
Yeah. On left.
We're killing the soul vessels now.
Yeah, I'm watching your streams.
It's a tricky topic. It's like there's so many things that people like. You try to think about. Oh, it's just a simple answer, right?
Who's pushing?
The skeleton.
Pushing the boss, guys.
Oops.
You try to think about simple answers, but then you might screw a group of players or whatever, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is taking damage? That's the question.
Is anybody taking damage?
No. I don't think so.
Just crushing it.
Okay, who got woven flesh?
Me?
I did.
Everyone?
Yeah.
I did. Everyone woven flesh?
Yeah.
Anyone getting the LP?
No.
No.
You know, I've got a 3L. No, I got a 3LP Ribbons of Blood on my first Abomination kill before.
Okay, wow.
By the way, Mike, I don't think that should be able to happen, period. This is just, you know, I couldn't hold it, so I have to use this opportunity to just say it, okay? I hope you don't mind.
Why not? What's wrong with that?
I feel like, for you love Diablo 2. I love Diablo 2, right?
Yeah.
Item level, there is a big thing. We don't really have that here, right? And I feel like...
There actually is. Technically.
I mean, area level kind of, right? But I mean,
minimum area drop level.
But I mean,
like, level.
it's not like, oh, if you don't drop the charm from Bal, it's not good, kind of, you know? Or
Yeah.
and I feel like, to me as a long-time player, it feels like when I have a chance to get a best in slot item, right? When there is even a chance for it to happening, it feels kind of like you feel the weight of RNG kind of like mocking at you, not in a good way, because like, oh man, I've been farming corruption for 3 days, I don't get anything, and then on my first random abomination kill I get it, and so I don't know, it just feels weird, right? Because it's like, it feels like that power, even though it's exciting to get, shouldn't happen that early, because it kind of diminishes the fact of pushing harder the character. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like if there's even an opportunity for it early on. Like,
yeah, like if you could drop Grand Charms from normal Bal instead of, you know, Hell Bal, you would just go one-shot Hell Bal non-stop, right? What's the point?
Well, but yeah.
But you know what I mean, right? And
yeah.
I feel like corruption has a lot of room to influence LP without turning it too crazy, because I know you guys want to have it under control, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, or just a thought.
And, yeah, there's definitely room. I will not argue there's no room for adjustments or changes like that, because there's definitely room for things like that. I'm with you there, no question.
This is like one of Lizard and my favorite topics to talk about is drop rates in the game.
We literally, I think we at least have this conversation once a week for like a couple hours. Just
Lizard and Tarek and I, especially. I think Aristotle has this conversation now too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about the drop rates like being too good early and being like impossible late, and how that kind of messes progression up pretty big for players who play a lot.
And in fact, I'm pretty new to the game, you could say, right? I think I joined in about July. I have a few hundred hours in it, but of the 4 of us here, I think I have the least. And that was one of the things when I started on my, I made an Elemental Nova Lightning Blast Sword. It just came together, like really, and I think in my first playthrough, I didn't realize how powerful the skill trees were, right? Like the skills themselves and the passive trees. And then I hit a wall, like on each character, the wall comes differently. So for my Void Knight, it was around 350, 360 corruption. And I spent hours farming wings, and then I realized how long would it take me to get LP wings so that I could get that, or how long would it take for me to get an LP?
It's definitely a high bar, right?
Right, yeah, and then the thing is, and that's the thing. I think it's different for me so far for each class. But once you reach that point, it's like, it feels very powerful very quickly, but then afterwards, like that wall comes in where you need something like, say, like a T6 flat crit on your weapon, or else, you know.
And you can't really do much to influence that, right? I mean, it feels like it's very easy to get to the point where your gear is set, right? But then when you actually want to grind for the super exciting stuff, I mean, sure, you can farm corruption, you can do dungeons, but it's kind of like you're just playing slots, right? And eventually you win.
Where there's very few replacement pieces, and you're just looking for minor upgrade pieces.
Yeah, but if you have a tier 20, right? Just a yellow item with the tier 5s of everything you won, the only way to upgrade that is either with sealing, which is fairly easy, right? Sealing a tier 1 or something, that's doable, right? But if you want that same item without losing the best in slot things and also exalted, right? Because you don't want to fuck up your gear distribution. It's kind of like, I mean, I don't mind it. I play the game a lot, right? I just grind. But it is true that it feels a bit like, I wish maybe we all have different opinions about this. My personal opinion is like, I wish in the super end game, right? I'm talking like, you already done everything there is to do, and you just want a luxury item. You love your character and you just want to flex, right? I feel like there should be ways maybe to make those goals that are attractive achievable. I'm not saying get tier 28s, you know, or something crazy like that, but at least be able to affect your outcome when it comes to finding a weapon with a single exalted affix that you actually really want, that will make you excited. Because at the moment, it's sure you get your drop rate blessings, alright, and then you just, well, you need the right implicit on the right, right? And I mean, you can't really, I mean, you can't do much, right? So yeah.
It's interesting, and I kind of, it's kind of a, I think a problem that's starting to seep in with like really high level players.
Yeah.
Partially because of how flexible the crafting system is.
Yeah, exactly. The crafting power is so powerful that it's so easy to get a decent tier 20 item, right? With how and don't get me wrong, I love the crafting item. It just feels like it feels weird that you get there so easily, so satisfyingly, and then you have nothing, right? And other than just get lucky, bro, right? And thank God for LP system, because I think LP system mitigates that so much, right? Because if you find the right Exalted and it's on the wrong base, at least it has value, right? That's huge.
Yeah, because you can slap it on even.
Exactly. Even you get a tier 7 hybrid health on a level 1 glove. Well, it's still fucking amazing find, right? Whether it's like if without the LP system, that's basically you don't want to lose your tier 7 HP is really good, but do you want to lose your implicit? Do you want to lose? It's tricky, right?
And that was one of the big draws when we were making the legendary system. That was one of the main points was like it makes items like that not disappointing.
Yeah, it's great. It's actually the amount of depth it added is amazing, right? But and to be fair, we're like me and Lone Star and Terek, we sometimes are a bit critical about the end game and the progression and stuff. It is true that there's issues that if it's your first 100 hours, 200 hours, you're probably not gonna notice. But I think this game is getting to a point where people are wanna go past that, right? Like I feel like the average player right now, plays, gets too empowered. Oh, this game is sick. I love the skill system. Kind of like waits for the next patch, right?
The concern for us is like, wait, when it's 1.0 and people are actually playing like something like a league, and the big streamers are here and they're playing, and they realize that once they get their like tier 6 and maybe they're 1 LP, there's like all these other things that technically exist, but they can't access them. And they're used to being in like PoE where they can potentially make perfect items that they spend a whole long time on it, and they realize there's really nothing else they can do. Well, what's the reaction going to be to that? Especially when those things exist, and it seems like you could balance them into the game in a way that makes them somewhat achievable.
Yeah, I do not disagree with that at all.
Excellent, that's great to hear.
it's hard to I don't know the answers to it. I don't know the solution. I don't know the way you implement that or how you do it. But I do think that there's this interesting thing that happens with, and I didn't think of this. I hadn't even considered this as a thing before talking to people after this had come up first a while ago. Is in that if it is technically possible to get something in a game,
people expect it.
Sorry.
People expect it, no? Sorry for interrupting.
Exactly. Though you're right. It's expecting a way to have it be possible to get realistically or reasonably.
Dude, you're getting right into the conversation that me and Lone Star have also every weekend.
Yeah. There's two issues that are connected to that. There's the one where you talk about like, well, it's in the game, I should be able to potentially get it. And then there's the other one to where the way it's currently set up sets this like very early roadblock, and it's not just a roadblock, it's like gear is pretty easy to get and really achievable and really exciting and really good, and then all of a sudden it's almost impossible to get it. It happens almost immediately. So these are two separate but connected issues that the system currently creates. But I think the good thing is like the way the system is designed, I don't think either of those problems are like inherent to it. It's really just a matter of finding the right balance.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and I think there might be. I think it'll look really bad, or maybe not really bad. But like I think you'll be able to find ways to say things like this about it, even right up until it's like right on the edge of being just right. I think it'll be like something will happen to like the scales will just tip completely.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think as you guys start to make adjustments, it'll be easy to say, okay, it's still not there, but we're seeing him go in the right direction, and then we can just continue to give feedback on that. Because right now, like there's just some things that are like the numbers are so insane. Like an LP4 Ravenous Wood is usually the example people put, but now it's like Wings of Archness. But even like tier 28s, even 3 LP, especially with tier 7s in there, like the numbers are so high that no one ever sees them.
So they basically don't exist. Yeah,
they basically don't exist, but they're in the game, so people know they do technically exist, but just not practically. But most people don't know they don't practically exist because they don't actually know the numbers like those of us who play the game.
You have to explain it to them, and that's a bad experience, right? Because the game doesn't tell you. Like, And
the thing in the game guide, there's a line in there that's like, "This is extremely
people reading, huh? Yeah, Mike.
But even if they read that, if they equate extremely rare to okay, this is like a mirror in PoE, that's not remotely close. A mirror is so much easier to get.
Oh yeah, way easier, and almost no one gets a mirror. Like
yeah, exactly.
Put your hand if you've ever found like a J mod in Diablo 2 or a 1440 gem. Like,
but with trade, right, people, and that's a different topic that let's not get into, right? But
that's why I said
even without trade, it's like it's possible you'll drop a mirror, and so if someone's going in without, like, okay, I probably won't see it, but someone's gonna see it, and that's pretty exciting. Maybe I will see it.
Versus, exactly.
And me and Lone Star actually differ quite a bit on the approach, right? Because
we don't really differ that much, actually.
In the solution, we agree on the problem.
So
right?
well, we agree on one solution. We agree that difficulty should increase your likelihood of getting those things, so you're rewarded for doing difficult content.
Absolutely.
And it does.
Not enough.
Well, corruption doesn't really change like your likelihood of getting more LP or
LP doesn't. LP chance doesn't scale directly. You scale density and more items, more tickets at the same lottery. You know, and if the lottery is 1 in a billion. I mean, are you really increasing your chances? Okay, mathematically, yes. Realistically, not. And I feel like we're smart players that put a lot of time in the game. So a lot of these logical decisions we make with logic and not emotion. Because basically, when we have this discussion, I said, well, guys, what are you complaining about 4LP Ravenous Void? They don't exist, right? But you're asking...
They do exist.
Exactly. I tell myself that they don't exist, so I don't expect it, I don't get frustrated, and I set my expectations based on my knowledge. But the average player, because it exists, you know, it creates this... And especially because there's so many diminishing returns inside, and it gets so incrementally harder, that I wonder, like... I understand that you guys like the idea of, because it can exist, it gives that magic, that Diablo 2 feeling of, I mean, you keep playing because it could happen, right? But at the same time, Last Epoch is a game that everywhere else, it's telling you the opposite, and then suddenly it's like a slap in the face that you don't really see coming, right? It's like, get the craft system, get the shards, get this, get that. Oh, by the way, this item that you actually want to get, it doesn't exist, so stop playing.
Yeah, I love the idea that it could happen, but it has to actually be, it could happen, you know? Like, at tier 20, it has to be an it could happen.
Yeah, like a J mod happens, you see them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen one drop ever.
Your drop?
Yeah, I've dropped one.
Yeah, but you can't drop Ravenous Void for LP, right? That's the again. There's a difference between being something really rare, something it's rare, but winning the lottery is very rare, but people do win it, right? Winning the lottery 100 times in a row, it's rare, but nobody does it, right? There's tiers. And I feel like, for me, I think if something is so rare that the devs, for a balance perspective, they don't want it to exist, right? Because I understand, you know, 4LP Ravenous Void, I mean, it's a bit overkill, right? Sure, it's fun, right? But maybe it's a bit overkill at the moment, right? With the current content. Is it?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like, is it better to, and in your opinion, is it better? It doesn't have to be true or not, but is it better to say, okay, each item has a max LP. Each unique item has a max LP.
Yeah.
I would cap everything, and I would use seasons to make things spicy. Oh, this season Week of Argentus, it only has 1. Next season has 2. Holy fuck! Time to play Warpath. Shape up the meta with it. Be restrictive, and at the same time creative. I know I'm not the majority, okay, but I think it's having final goals. And you still have a lot of room for those impossible items, right? Like double tier 7s. All of that still exists in the game. But I do think that having a bit more control on certain things, I'd rather have it than what we have now, honestly.
Yeah. So yeah, like there's two approaches to it. One is to like make it more realistic. The other one's just to not have it. And I think everyone here at least agrees that not have it is better than now.
Yes.
And then the disagreement is whether or not we should dropping the rates is better. So for me, it's like you can do the like just cut it off, and that is better. However, it doesn't solve the problem of hitting a wall of progression, where this system that exists currently, I think, could help that wall of progression by making those drop rates possible. So that's like the issue. Like, yes, I would rather have it not go higher than, say, 2 or whatever if it's not going to be realistic to do so, but I'd really like to see that progression curve increase some way, whether it be through corruption or whatever it is, so that we can actually see these higher tier stuff and continue to progress our characters.
Make compelling arguments, gentlemen.
We think about this a lot, man. Like a lot.
That's all we do. That's all we do, literally. And a lot of the times we also tell ourselves that let's not press the issue too much because we know you guys are busy with, you guys are busy with MP, performance, this, that, right? We understand that it doesn't really make, if you have issues in the early game and in the campaign and polishing the first player experience, it doesn't really make sense to fix the issues that affect currently 50 players. I get it, but I do think it's something that has to be in the back of your head, because eventually those players that are not seeing the issue will get there and they will see the issue, and the game is too fucking good to have that issue, right? It's and I think I don't worry too much personally because it's so easy. I think it's numbers. You can fix it so easy, and you guys had fixed things like this before. Which brings me, by the way, I'm sorry that I sidetrack like this, but modifiers, Mike. I'm just dropping.
This is a bad topic or a good topic?
Transition.
Okay. If I ask you, Mike, what is harder? This is my issue, okay? So I'll phrase it in a question because it's a trap, and I want to win this argument, so I'll trap you. Okay?
Okay. I will blindly walk into your trap.
Okay. Okay. What is harder? 400 corruption or 500 corruption?
500 corruption.
Really? Or does it depend on the mods?
It depends on the mods, yeah.
I like the mods, right? But I think shifting that conversation, don't get me wrong, there could be so overriding, right? Like, what is harder, 500 or 490? Don't get me, you know what I'm saying, right? But
yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. And I've seen this video. You've got a YouTube video about this.
I do many more if necessary, Mike. So
yeah, don't worry. I've watched it a few times. I know exactly what you're talking about. And you're not wrong. There's nothing wrong in there. The one, I guess, the reason why it is that way, and why we have had that way is trying to put an emphasis on giving players the opportunity to make the game harder for themselves, like a risk for reward, being able to challenge yourself to get something better. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier with having experienced players being able to push through the campaign either faster or more reward for it or something like that by increasing the challenge themselves. And having that optional challenge, you can say, hey, I'm better, I'm going to take this harder risk to get a better reward. And I know it doesn't quite, it's not worth it usually, because you still want to push the corruption up higher to get that, because that's where there's the how do I say this, the risk reward or the reward or the I guess risk reward is the best way to put it, but the increased difficulty to benefit ratio is different on those two scales.
Well, and not only that, you can increase the reward without increasing. You can manipulate the system. You can just just scale certain modifiers. You still get to the cap of an item drop from a boss. And again, I hate this, right? I hate, for example, that when a guy tells me what corruption you can do on this build, and you go like, well, if you don't take any damage mod, you can go to 1,000 because it's really nothing. But if you take one mod, then you get one-shotted because the mod is 600% elemental damage. And I feel like those gaps are just like, they force people to play a certain way where when you get those mods, it feels frustrating. It basically says they don't exist because people avoid them, right? And
having a consistent number that you could look at to say like the build pushes this much corruption, where it's an easy metric to compare builds across, is a really valuable tool for describing what a build can do and like the viability and power and like how do you measure a build. And lots of things we use, lots of games we use DPS or it can beat this boss in so many seconds. And the other metric we have that's really easy to point to is corruption. Because it is an infinitely scaling difficulty metric, but it's not necessarily linear or
at all.
Consistent. I guess is the better way to put it. It's not necessarily consistent. And so I definitely hear what you're saying there, and I don't know the best way to handle it. We do.
Can I pitch?
One thing yeah, sure. Go ahead. Pitch away.
No, finish. Sorry, Mike. I'm being too pushy. I apologize. I'm too excited. Sorry.
The mods that are there do get harder with corruption.
But you avoid them, so they don't.
I know.
So
go ahead.
Okay, so I tell you where difficulty actually works, right? It works in the arena. I know some people don't like it, so let's take it out. But from the core game, it works in the dungeons. Like dude, I have a lot of new players that come into my stream and they tell me their experience, and they feel good when they can do tier 3, but they're not ready for tier 4. And a week later, they come to your stream and they tell you, I beat tier 4, and you know exactly what it took, and they feel achievement. And I feel really bad when people ask me what corruption you're on, and I legit don't even know. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care either, right? Because I'm just like cheesing the system, and when I get a mod that is frustrating, I get angry at you, right? And especially because, and again, what is in my opinion, the most fun thing about Monolith at the moment is the reward echoes. Those, you know, when you open the web and you see the perpy boy, you go like, oh boy, that's mine. So when you have a build that is kind of strong, you don't even look at monos because you're focused on the chase, right? You're not thinking about the bill in the restaurant. You're thinking about the steak, right? And all you see is the steak, and then you get into the restaurant, and then by the way, it's gonna be $1,000, and it's like, oh my god, I shouldn't have taken the steak. It just feels. I understand the risk reward, punishing all of that, but maybe it shouldn't be like 800% on a single mod. Maybe, like. I don't know.
That's with really high corruption, though, isn't it?
Dude, yeah. There is mods that are 300 corruption. Like for example, you're playing a melee build, and you get a mod at 200, 300 corruption, 100% chance to shred armor. You're playing melee. You're a sentinel. You only have armor as the R, right? Like, dude, you get hit by 20 like spiders that do no damage to you, and you're at minus 8,000 armor. Like. Shouldn't that be like, I don't know, you know, maybe again,
get good, bro.
Yeah, there was one at around 300 corruption. For me, it was, I think I didn't see it, and I took it before a boss fight when I was farming wings. It was 89% chance for glancing blow, something like that on a Void Knight. And I remember when I went to do that boss and it took 10 minutes, I was like, what the hell's what's going on here, guys? You know, like that. And I was like, I'm done. You know, I was like, oh, no, I'm not.
And I know Mike has this. I've talked with Mike with this already. I bug him a lot, and he says, you know, it's because you see the numbers that it feels bad, right? Yes, but people like numbers, like.
Yeah. Like the time to kill felt bad though, like 15 minutes on a boss fight. I have video of it.
For me, Mike, for example, a mod like crit avoidance, right? Crit avoidance. It's punishing if you're playing a crit build, sure. But let's just say you have a new character, you have 50% crit chance, and you're not critting that much because you have 50, right? And then you get crit avoidance. Well, now, so from the times you crit, some of them don't crit. All right, I get punished. Yeah, but if you have a build, right, that you worked your ass and your gear and exalted and everything to get 100% crit, and that same mod now is more punishing for your effort. It shouldn't be the opposite. Like I feel, like I lose more damage for building it. It's like the more damage I get, the more damage I lose, and it's just kind of like that's why we build tank. You know, that's why people just go CDPS, gear doesn't matter. Yeah. You know, like
this is actually interesting. I have a question that I want to shift a little bit here. Just and touch the side of it here. When you're looking at the monolith web, picking an echo, like picking which one you want to do, and you're picking between you choose there's like 6 echoes to choose from. So there's 6 echoes to choose from. And a couple of them are 2 scenarios. One scenario is a couple of them will just destroy you because they are anti your build. Yeah, that's the way it is now. There's like. It's impossible to do that one.
Yeah.
And then a few that are really easy for your build because they're not like that.
Yeah.
They're pretty easy ones. Or scenario 2, all of the options are they're all different, but they're all kind of the same difficulty.
I mean,
they're all relatively equal as far as how hard it is for your build to play.
I feel the answer to that at the moment. The spikes feel really bad because they're so abrupt. I do think that there should be modifiers that you go, hey, you're at difficulty of a 5 and you go to a 7. It's a noticeable difference, right? Like, but the problem
it's just too high.
I mean, right now you go from a 0 to 100.
Okay.
Right?
So it's have the spikes, but don't have them be quite as.
Yeah, and for example, again, like for example, let's just say base corruption is always difficulty from 1 to 3. So no mods, no attack is 1. So if you can manage 2, you can probably manage 3. It's gonna be harder, but you can probably manage it, right? The problem is like you go to from 1 to 10, right? And it's like it just feels weird. And the other way around, if you're at 200 corruption, then it should be from 3 to 5, right? And you should always be. I just got raided. Thank you very much. Sorry, Cassie. Thank you very much. But you see what I'm saying, Mike?
Let me give my ideal here real quick.
Go ahead, Jake.
I'm not quite as bothered by it as Lizard is, but I also do believe that's probably a little bit too.
Thank you very much for the raid, man. I appreciate it. We're talking to Mike, the developer. I'll shut up.
See some of that shift to the corruption. Give some more value to the corruption scaling, you know, like for example, more exalted or higher LP stuff like that we were talking about earlier, and then have an option for re-rolling modifiers and things with an increasing gold cost. So people that have certain builds that can't do certain things can choose to invest out of that if there's like a really good echo, but it's going to cost them. And it's going to be a pretty high cost to begin with. It's like it's in the thousands.
This is interesting. I think you were playing back then, but
we had that.
Basically, we used to have that.
Yeah, but it cost $1 million.
Yeah. It's just interesting to bring up, and I'm not. That wasn't a like we shouldn't have it because we used to have it or anything like that. But it's interesting that we're looking at that as an option now. Something that we did.
Yeah.
Used to have.
Like obviously the old system had a lot of other issues. It's super simple, and so like it's hard to piece apart how good it was from the fact that this one's much better. But I do think it was elegant. It worked. If there was something you really didn't like. But there was like a reward you want. You could invest your way into it. Of course, you have to decide whether or not it's worth it. And then if you get a bad roll again and the cost, let's say it doubles and it doubles again a third time, you know, you're not going to do it very much. But that could be a good gold sink while also, you know, helping the builds that are like, for example, built in the crit avoidance if that's really going to destroy them, but still not lose out on rewards, but they're going to have to pay for
it. You want to write that up? Type that up for me?
I can absolutely type that up for you, no problem.
Hey, if you want typing, we do typing, you know.
We do lots of typing. We're really good at it now.
I feel like I know the modifiers in the dungeons are really simple, and you need that variety on Monolith, right? But the thing is, like, you guys are aware that caps are good because some of the mods are capped. Resistances, right? Some of they just don't scale because it wouldn't be really funny to have a mod with 400 resistances. And resistances is something that you can offset with penetration, with shred. There is a way to counter it, right? Kind of, at least. But how do you counter? Definitely. How do you counter 50% less damage taken? 50%. I worked for my million damage, and now I'm losing $500,000, bro. This is like taxes. I pay taxes in real life. I don't want to pay taxes in game. You know. So I don't know. I feel like, you know, having those. This is my ideal. My ideal is like, so monolith scaling, right? But you have tiers. And the moment you reach it, it's the same. You get to 100, and then when you get 100, you can jump to the next tier, right? So everything is the same, but the tier adds that big multiplier, even though the mods are the same. Because 20% increased damage when the mobs do 100 damage, well, it's just 120. But 20% more damage when the mobs do, you know, 400, you know, or 1,000, right? That's a big increase. So I rather have that, more control, and, you know, feeling like, oh, I can definitely take this 20% more damage, or maybe not, and make it more like a wave instead of like just a tsunami, you know? Because the tsunami just feels awful, you know? No one likes to get slapped in the face that hard. Like, slap me a bit, you know? With love, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bit with love.
Love is good.
Just moderate slaps, you know, just everything in moderation, right?
Yeah.
Gentle slap, please.
And again, I think corruption, like for example, I think the base damage, right, in Monolith, it's pretty bad. It's pretty low, right? Because obviously new players are gonna get there, and you don't wanna screw them, right? I get it. But I feel like a player that gets to 200, 300 corruption, they played the game enough. There should be a point where you feel, this is too much, I gotta slow. I really like in Diablo 2 the feeling of, you're in Nightmare, you jump to Hell, and you go back to Nightmare because a Fallen one-shot you, right?
Yeah.
Because it feels,
oh, yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, but it feels good to go farm Mephisto, then you farm Balruns, on, you know, and eventually you go, and that Fallen, suddenly, it's nothing, and it feels good. And right now, it just feels like, you don't really have that. It's just like a ramp that leads to nowhere, and eventually there's a Fallen who's just cracked up on steroids that just one-shots you out of nowhere, and you're, oh fuck, I pick a bad mod, feels bad. I rip my exalted weapons, I guess. Nice. I'ma go play arena where there's no shitty mods. Next, you know. that's how I feel, right?
I hear you for sure, and
yeah.
like it's like something that's come up a few times is the idea that having corruption as a low number of tiers is just, it feels different, and that's one of the big differences between the dungeons and the monolith, is the fact that it's, instead of like, because what we could do is there's 1,000 tiers in the dungeon and you can move up slowly, and it's effectively the same thing, and it's like there's like tiny little steps, and it's just how big are those steps, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can have corruption be something that is like take a 0, like just knock a digit off the end, right?
Yeah.
Does it change the functionality that much? I mean, the granularity of the changes, yes, but does it feel different when you're like, oh, I made it to tier 5 or
yeah, absolutely,
tier 50, tier 500? Like, what's the feels difference there? I don't know. I'm like, there's so many little psychology.
I personally really like how the dungeons are at the moment, because I think the gap between tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 are very doable for a new player, but tier 4 is way more demanding. But it's not like you're locked out of anything that is like, oh my god, you know, like, because if you're a player who can beat tier 4, you're probably not gonna need to craft on tier 4 Jewelry, because you probably don't have those kind of items, right? So it's like, I feel like it's very well done. I mean, don't get me wrong, dungeons have their issues, right? But I think in that regard, difficulty feels good. And when a player told me, hey, I'm killing tier Jura, I know exactly what their character is, right? I have a clear idea of, and not only that, like you guys have mentioned of having more ladders for like the, you know, monolith, etc., which I think it's a good idea for those who don't like the arena, maybe having some sort of corruption or most Orobi skills of highest Orobi skill or whatever, right? At corruption, something like that is cool, and people that like just progression can strive for, right? But
it's a bit of a future content thing, just for the record. But yes, I do think that's.
Yeah, I'm just thinking 2 years in time, right? But at the moment, I think to myself as a sweaty, competitive player that's gonna try to win no matter what. Like, I'm just like basically resetting my web until I get 5 modifiers to a Orobis with no damage, and that's who's gonna get rank 1. You know, it's like fishing in D3. It's not really fun, you know. And for example, in arena, because you know if you're rank 1 and you've done 1,000 waves, there's no fishing. You had to do 500 waves non-stop, and there was some hard waves there, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like having that feeling of people again. Sometimes I see like people that post, my run to 1,000 corruption or whatever, and you take a look at the clips and they're just playing around. Yes, they're on 1,000 corruption, but you look at the mods and their enemies have crit chance and they're running crit avoidance. It's like, okay. So basically no mods, which means 1,000 corruption is what, 400% more damage, or 400% more damage of 0 base. It's 0, right? So I don't know. I feel like I wish, and I think maybe 1,000, asking people to go to 1,000. I don't think it's that enjoyable or that fun. I'd rather just make it 500, but 500 be like a super gear check, no matter what, no matter the mods. It's gonna be hard, right? And maybe
I think the expectation that 1,000 is a number you're looking at is too high.
Yeah, I think it's sorry for my language. I think it's bad because again, I think Monolith is a good core at the moment, but I don't know if it has the tools to keep you engaged for that long. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah, and I also think you bring up a good point there too, is that it doesn't have all the tools it needs yet.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have all the tools it needs yet. And there's still definitely stuff on the list for Monolith. But even so, even with those extra tools, those hypothetical future tools, it still is 1,000 is still 1,000's never been the goal as like a. Like,
I absolutely agree. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
But again, imagine if we had 100 tiers of dungeons. I mean, why not just have 4 that are clear, and then have an Uber if anything in the future, and boom, you know, like way better, no? Like I don't know.
It's definitely a very ongoing debate on granularity, and like what is too granular, what is not granular, and where is that line? And it is, I don't think I think the fact that people are we're seeing frequent 1,000 corruption pushes means that we're not at the right. I think that probably indicates that we're not at the right spot.
Yeah, and again, keep in mind those people. Yes, they're doing 1,000 corruption with no damage mods, so nothing basically, right? Like I have a character that when my vengeance before you guys ruined vengeance, okay. I had a character at 1,069 corruption. I farmed precisely to get 69, okay, exactly. And right now it has a mod that gives rare enemies 900% increased damage and HP. And when I log in and I get auto attacked by a single mob, I explode, and I can't do anything, right? And if I get rid of that mod, I can do the content, right? And it just. Again, I don't think 1,000 should be a thing, right? But I think if you guys make that journey again, is that going back to the Diablo 3 of, Diablo 2, sorry, of normal, nightmare, hell, right? And I think just that it just works, dude. It just works. I mean, people have been playing the game,
I do agree that it works really well. I don't. I just want to mention that we don't have any interest in doing the campaign in stages like that.
I just crashed, by the way. No, not the campaign. I'm saying that.
I know you're not saying that.
No, absolutely not.
I just want to make that clear.
You could get rid of masochist too to avoid confusion. I just do the game is too easy. Just do masochist, lol. Classic.
No, masochist is great. Stick around. I think we might have.
Let's hop out so we can come back and crash.
Yeah, I have crashed. Do we have to include? Do we have to include masochist Bible on guides or?
Okay.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna do masochist naked character speedrun. Okay, we'll see.
So back to the corruption thing. So I'd like to see it be more of like a hybrid where it's still like granular like it is, but there are also milestones that you hit where things open up. So like let's say at 100, a particular kind of boss opens up with certain rewards, and then at 200 another thing, and then you guys can choose like what the maximum is at, and people can choose to go farther, but it doesn't really do much other than like the scaling. I think that would be really fun. It would create the granularity, so people are like making incremental improvements in like the difficulty, but also they hit this spot and like that's awesome, Pog, I've hit that, now I can go do this extra content that was locked away from me until I can do the difficulty. And then
you can invite me, sorry.
Okay, and then of course Aristo's actually leader. Of course you guys can make sure like that it doesn't go too far where like people are doing having to push pinnacle bosses at like 1,500 corruption or anything like that. So like once you get to that, whatever point is you guys think is enough for people to be able to do the hardest content, that's as far as the corruption actually scales as far as the milestones do, but it's still infinite if people really want to push.
You can keep pushing past it if you really want, or because you're bored, you want to flex, but you reach the clear goal and you can balance power behind it, right? Like again, you're scared of people getting geared too fast. Well, you can just lock certain things under certain corruption, boom, and you can like the Diablo 2 way pretty much, right? And I don't know. Just a thought, just a random thought that we had in the shower. Definitely haven't talked about it for a year.
just briefly. Just epiphany right now.
Completely off the cuff.
Yeah. It is. We're just that good.
Nice.
That is what it is. And again, to be honest, when I hear you talk about it in the dev stream and stuff, you guys I like everything you guys say about the game, but I guess we get a bit anxious because obviously we've been playing for a long time and we want to see it, right? And we are also worried that, okay, now people are liking the things, but I wish that people can play the amount of time I played in this game without seeing any problem, right?
Guys.
Yeah.
Is this a new boss?
Is it like this for you too?
What is this?
Yeah, I'm on a galaxy map.
I'm not.
New arena, guys?
I've never seen this. That's crazy.
Is this the... Yeah.
Are you guys floating?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's follow the map, right? Let's see. If you can...
Is there a map?
Okay, Aristotelian, I'll guide you to the thingy. Walk straight.
Okay.
Go other way. Go up. Okay, stop.
No.
No. And right click on top of you now. Right click on top of you. Like
Chad says it should be a hideout, like celestial hideout.
Trying to open up.
I was thinking the same thing, Lone Star Man.
Doesn't work, guys.
Hideout. It says echoes in progress, so somebody's either inside or I don't know what's going on.
Shall I try open one? Echo already in progress. Shall we just redo the party, maybe?
I think we can just go back to the end of time, or...
Yeah, I'm gonna port back to... There we go, there
Or maybe if you go to the UTP to the Monolith of Fate directly.
That was not their fault, that was Mike's fault, by the way, so... Just making it.
Photon saying weird. So.
Okay.
You mean that's not intended?
Whenever someone
know.
is inside, just drop a TP and we can go in.
I would take an end of time hideout. You know, like a. Let's try this again.
Hey, on the other hand, Mike, we love the game still. You know, we're just like kind of ranting here, like, but it's a good game.
Yeah, for sure.
But it can be the best game. That's the dream. Best game. Nice. It's getting there, you know, slowly.
That's all that matters, right?
When are we nerfing block effectiveness? By the way, are we buffing 200 melee?
God.
Are we
What's
buffing?
wrong with block effectiveness?
What block effectiveness?
What's wrong with it?
I think the ramp is crazy. No?
Was this gonna have you fix every problem he has just
Mike, I'm taking my chances here. My mama told me, take your chances, be brave, you know, and this is what it is. I mean, 1,600 effectiveness, which is basically a blessing and a shield. It's 50% damage reduction. Isn't that, for the investment, a bit too much?
Yeah, it might be a little high.
Are you happy, Lizard?
Yes, we can move topic. We can move topic. I take that as a
W. It might be a little high.
I take that as a W. By the way, that's the issue with Bastion. It's not that the block chance is the problem. It's the block effect that is the problem. By the way.
Yeah, it's just too consistent. As it's too consistent as like the generically good. It's the Shaco problem. It's
Bastion.
Yeah, Bastion is Shaco. I think it is. It's just too generically useful in that role.
But I can agree with that.
I agree with you, but I think the reason that is the problem is because even if you want to, you can't really get a better value, and you guys keep nerfing block chance, right? It's hard to get 100% block chance, right? In fact, it's almost impossible without Bastion, and if you're not a Sentinel, it's almost impossible, right? You can do shenanigans with the new Shield of the Mountain, getting 300 endurance, but people are not really going to do that, right? So I feel like making Bastion an easy way to get 100% block, but your blocks are shitty, it's way better, and then it's like eventually you move out of Bastion because you got a big shield, you know?
Teleport to Aristo.
Okay.
Because as long as 100% block exists and it's easy to get, well, I mean, that's the hard thing. It's not the block effect, right? The hard thing is block chance. So either buff that outside of Bastion, or give Bastion a huge downside of, okay, you always block, but your blocks are shitty. Like a, I don't know, like a block effectiveness reduction or something. Or I don't really know, but... You hear what I'm saying, or...?
Yeah, I don't know the best way to do it. I don't know the best way to handle it.
I might not know the best, but I can think of a few if you're ever, you know, like it might not be the best, but I'll shoot my shot.
Always.
All right, how about we talk about something multiplayer related, since it's, you know, what today's about.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What do you think about? I'm joking. You can go on. I'm
so a lot of people have been asking about the load times, especially in campaign. Are those something that EHG is looking at right now, or what's going on with that?
I mean, yeah, that's always something that we'll be trying to get lower and lower and lower. It's there's not a I don't have all the information on this one. I don't think there is a like huge obvious like there's a sleep 10 sitting there on the server that you can just take out. There's not like some easy win of just like flick this switch and it suddenly is better type solution to this. And there's probably better wins to be had elsewhere easier right now. But it is yeah.
For most of us, what we're experiencing is like the rest of the game seems to be pretty smooth multiplayer, but load times are so insanely long that it really just bogs down everything. Not so bad in the monolith. Monolith's pretty good, but like anytime you transition between areas that are non-monolith related, it just takes a long time for it to start up and then for it to actually even finish loading. And it seems to be worse on when you're playing actually with people than when you're playing solo.
Yeah, so the vast majority, what's actually happening is a new server is being spun up. And so that load time is computers turning on.
Oh shit!
Okay.
It's not quite that, but it's effectively what it is.
Can you? Is there a way to stay on one, or is it just not the way it works?
So that's what's happening in the monolith. Is there's an additive loading system where it is a single server, which is why going back from
that's why it's faster.
From the monolith, like the zone that you're in, back through the green portal to the rest zone and rest. Well, I don't know what's actually called. When that happens, there's no loading that happens. Yeah, that would just happen there. You're in the same scene. Those two things exist simultaneously in the same server in the same scene, and you're just being physically moved. It's the equivalent of casting teleport, just a really big distance. But when you're going through a scene transition, like what's happening right now with the loading echo, this notice that's up, a new server is not being spun up, but the information for the zone that you're going to is being added to the scene.
Yeah, because it's noticeably like shorter compared to campaign.
Yeah, because there's no like turn a server on time. There's no like he doesn't have to go through allocating, like finding the right server, making sure that there's. Because first it has to check to see if there's anyone that's in your party that's already created a server of that zone you're going into, so you go to the right zone. And then if it can't find something there, it then has to go to the thing that creates new servers and say, I need a new server, and that thing has to go find an available box that's in the right region.
Thank you very much for the
turn
raid,
that server
Woody.
On,
we're talking with the depths.
There's a whole bunch of stuff happening here. We do stuff to work things early to cut that time down a whole lot. And there's lots of tricks there that make it a lot faster, but like there's a lot longer of a process there it's happening, which is the reason it's happening. And there's definitely like big wins we want to have there, and getting that load time down is important. The time investment to output ratio is not great on it right now compared to other things we do. So
yeah, I can see that. At the same time, I feel like that's the one people are going to notice the most, especially if it goes to a point now with this kind of loading screen. People are
What's up, Woody? Good to see you,
just
man.
how long it takes to load, especially in
Thank you for the raid.
people start.
Welcome, everyone.
So
we're listening to the depths, so I'm kind of staying quiet, but I appreciate you guys.
It's going to make MP look a little bit worse, even if the servers are actually really good.
Yeah, and the new player experience.
It's been great, yeah. I've been waiting for this for 4 years, so yeah, it's a big deal. How long this beta will last? 48 hours.
Hopefully,
I'm sorry. I'm probably gonna have to step out here. But I'm very happy to have got a chance to hang out with you guys and chat and talk. Hope you had fun.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us. It was awesome to have you, man.
Thank you very much, Mike. I'm sorry for bombarding you too, but
I knew what I was getting into. Don't worry.
Oh, he said, "Wait, the Lizard is in that group." Oh no! Oh no! Good. But,
we'll talk to you later. See ya.
Yeah, see ya.
Mike.
Take care, Mike.
See you, Mike.
What? Mike quit and I lost connection. What the? We've been dude, inside job. Deb's banning
down
us.
the server.
They're banning the truth. The Matrix is attacking.
You run away with the server, dude.
Guys, the Matrix. What the fuck?
Good job, Lizard, man.
What the fuck, man?